Today we're gonna talk about trees. Yep, not the 7-leaf kind, the one that makes you feel great, but trees in video games, because I feel like you're the type of person to walk right past those beautiful pixels and polygons and not even bat an eye. The Atari generation. Now, the Atari generation was before my generation. That was during the 70s, late 70s, 80s, like early 80s. I was born in 83. It's before my time. So trees back then were not really trees. They were just big ass green pixels on top of big ass brown pixels. Trees used to make up whole ass backgrounds. I remember this game called Pitfall. And I remember thinking to myself, wow, all of the trees look like they're actually connected. They look like a background, as they should. Because back then, we didn't have enough computing power to even make things look semi 2D, 3D. So essentially back then, because the computing power was so low, it was almost as if graphics was kind of allergic to nature. So we don't necessarily have to count those trees, but they're trees nonetheless. The 8-bit era. Now the 8-bit era is my birth as a gamer. Well, kind of. Back then, the NES was like everything to me. I remember coming from New York one time and I begged my mom to get me an NES, and she actually did. And I remember a little game called Friday the 13th. And I remember thinking to myself, oh my gosh, I can't play this game because this game looks too real. The trees were haunting. More haunting than what's his name? Jason himself. Because in that game, you're in a camp. And you're like running around as a stupid ass student or whatever, and this thing is chasing you. This man, grown man with a mask, is chasing you against a backdrop of beautiful trees. Now, trees in the NES era was still kind of struggling within the realism department. It was more symbolic than anything else. For example, our precious beloved The Legend of Zelda, the one that started it all for many of us. As beautiful and as golden as that cartridge was, trees in that game look like lines of broccoli. I love broccoli. Every tree was essentially identical. And I suspect this is because, again, the limited memory within the cartridge of the system. Back then, it was phenomenal. It was amazing. It was bird's eye view. You can see everything. You can see Link walking around with his sword, conquering monsters, going to castles. The scariest castle of all those castles was actually Tree Castle. I'm not even gonna put an image of that castle. Too many nightmares. I actually prefer the way Mario did the trees. The trees were a bit more stylized and beautiful. I really appreciate the fact that they pumped a lot of character into their trees. It is a bit cartoony, but it really matches the aesthetic that they were trying to pull with the overall game in Mario. So these early NES games, they really struggled with the shadows because of obvious limitations. The generation of my first ever console battle, Super Nintendo versus Sega Genesis, the 16-bit era. If you chose the wrong side, you were liable to get your ass kicked during recess on the playground. And I remember vividly kicking somebody else's ass for liking Mario. Now I got my ass kicked, let me not fake moves. In the SNES Sega Genesis era, we had better looking trees. Trees kinda looked a bit 3D, like in the beloved Donkey Kong Country. Yep, 1994. Trees had texture in those jungles. They looked more three-dimensional, but not quite realistic. Sonic came and he was running too damn fast to pay attention to any tree. The only tree I remember from Sonic are the palm trees from Green Zone Island, or what's it? Green Zone Island. I don't even remember. I'm getting old. It was quite lovely, visually beautiful, even though the game had turbo processing power.
The Sega Genesis has blast processing. Super Nintendo doesn't. So what's blast processing do?
So Sonic would just whiz by all of those luscious green vegetative trees. The 3D polygon era, that PlayStation 1 era, that N64 era. Now this era, I remember being stunned from things going from 2D to 3D. I remember the first time I saw a tree in Mario 64, I swear it put me in some kind of trance. Because no matter how I ran around that level, that tree stared directly at me. It never changed perspective, not once. And then it dawned on me later on that that tree was essentially a giant cardboard, essentially a flat 1D, 2D sticker, essentially. Because no matter what angle or perspective you're looking at this tree, it's looking at you dead on. It's kind of fascinating if you think about it. It's a clever way to save on processing power. I must give Nintendo that. Ocarina of Time did trees much better than Mario 64 in my humble opinion, especially the Deco tree, the most respectable tree in gaming. I think it was probably the first sentient tree, apart from the stupid ass apple tree in Kirby, that I actually really liked. The Deco tree had an old face of wisdom, you know? Like, this is the first time a tree had character. It was so beautiful. It was so beautiful, the N64, man. It was so beautiful. And honestly, compared to today's graphics, the Deco tree would probably give little kids nightmares nowadays. It was cutting edge at the time, but now it's pretty ancient. It's pretty ancient. Final Fantasy VII. Yes, that game, the trees looked pre-rendered and didn't move. And honestly, I still like it till this day. There's something cunning about pre-rendered backgrounds that I really love. I honestly wish developers would utilize pre-rendered more often now. Remember Parasite Eve? Yeah. Great pre-rendered graphics, man, greatness. Well, in Final Fantasy, because the trees were pre-rendered, they looked more realistic than other games. But they just didn't animate. Like, I just talked trash about the N64 trees and how in Mario 64, the trees literally stalk your perspective no matter where you are. In Final Fantasy, they literally just look like a picture. And again, I love it. But some people might look at that and say, man, that's kind of cheating. That's cheating. You can't even change your angle. And I must agree, but it still looked lovely back then, at least. Now, the 2000s. Now, this era right here, man, I think this is where a majority of people started jumping on as gamers, which I actually love. This is the era of the PlayStation 2. This is the era of the Xbox, the GameCube. And this era, trees started to look more realistic. But there was only one problem with these trees. These trees look like they were made of plastic. Like in Halo, trees were tall, slender, stiff like green popsicles. I hate jokes. Why did I put that down here? Beautiful, yes, for the time, but very static, very stiff, almost like made of stone and plastic. Then you had San Andreas. You remember San Andreas? San Andreas, the palm trees look like cardboard cutouts taped to the street. Like literally taped to the street. Now, I do remember, and you know, nostalgic memory is a bastard. So I remember the trees in GTA San Andreas looking miraculous. You know what I mean? As I'm playing with CJ when he's walking around the streets of LA, right? In Cali. I thought the palm trees looked real back then. It seemed very real, right? But obviously, according to the footage in my video, compared to what we have today, it would never cut it. And last but not least, I would like to talk about Oblivion, a game that I forced myself to get all the achievements in, and I forced myself to finish all side quests in, even though I thought it was mediocre. And I know a lot of people who played Oblivion are gonna vehemently disagree in the comment section, and that's okay. Because I later went on to really appreciate Skyrim and Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 4, and so forth. Trees in Oblivion were essentially copy and paste. And it's not just Oblivion that did this. A lot of games did this copy and paste thing. Not just with trees, but with everything like faces, interiors, everything. Clouds, you see everything repeat. Like that was a thing back then, and not anymore. Because in the 2010s, the realistic forest era, one of my favorite eras when it comes to trees. This is the PlayStation 3, the Xbox 360, and a little bit of the PS4. Because you know now, the generations kind of meld together. Like the generations prior didn't meld together like this. Like there was a distinctive end to a generation, but not so much anymore. Because I'm still playing PS4 games on my PS5. Yeah. In this generation, we have Skyrim. The forest of Skyrim made your ass feel like you were actually in a fantasy realm. Fushra Da, snow billowing through the sky, touching every polygonal leaf. It was miraculous. And I still think till this day, and I don't care if I got my nostalgic glasses on, it is still a really good looking forest, you know? Yeah, still beautiful. Another game that had beautiful greenery in the form of trees was The Witcher 3, one of the greatest games ever made of all time. Forest so beautiful, Geralt almost put away his sword and grabbed the paintbrush. You remember the DLC about art? You remember that one? I think it's called Blood and Wine, something like that. That was incredible. I mean, I think they actually trumped Skyrim, man. They beat out Skyrim because the forest just looks, I mean, I swear, at one point I thought I was gonna see fairies. And I kinda did. I kinda did in The Witcher. Whew, I can't wait for The Witcher 4. Man. And last but certainly not least, because this game still to this day has some of the best looking forests in all of gaming history. That game is none other than Red Dead Redemption. That game, till this day, has the best looking trees, except for Horizon, we'll talk about that in a minute, in all of gaming history. The way Arthur Morgan was on his horse, you know, looking for his prey, because you remember the game had hunting, right? And honestly, when I used to hunt as Arthur Morgan, I used to get distracted by the forest, man. Sometimes the forest was just too goddamn beautiful to be chasing your prey. Like, I didn't want to skin anything in that beauty. That's how beautiful those forests were. Trees look so realistic, and till this day, you can go back and look at Red Dead Redemption, and it still holds that weight. It's still one of the best forests that we've seen in all of gaming. And the dopest part about it is, there aren't any Caribbean trees. Well, technically they are, but there are no like tropical trees. No, these are like redwood box oak trees of the United States of America. And they look gorgeous over those plains. I still think that, honestly, find me a better forest that's not Horizon or God of War. Find me a better forest. Come on, that's the challenge. Put it in the comments. What game has a better forest? And don't say no bullshit Lost Woods from Zelda. That doesn't count. We're talking about realism. Realism here. And don't say Crisis either, because I've seen some polygons sticking out of some branches that I am not fond of. But Red Dead Redemption, to me, holds the crown. Now we're in the 2020s. We're 5 years in. And yes, on a graphical level, forests and trees have gotten better. But in the 2000s, where you have the PS5, the Xbox Series X, and the PC on ultra settings. No knock against PC gamers. I literally have a gaming PC to my right. But in this generation, we have The Last of Us Part 2. And that game, it does have beautiful forests. But I still think Red Dead beats it out just a little bit aesthetically. In this game, the trees look so realistic as you're going through with Ellie and her horse, that honestly, it added to that immersion so well, because I honestly felt like the forest was actually breathable. The Last of Us, I know a lot of people crap on The Last of Us because Sony can't seem to make anything else. They even made a TV show which was actually quite nice. They can't seem to make anything else past The Last of Us, but I have to give The Last of Us 2 its flowers. Those forests look so good, look so green, so lush, so luscious. Here's where I give the edge to The Last of Us Part 2 in the lighting department. Yes, Red Dead 2 did the lighting impeccably, yes. But with The Last of Us 2, I feel like the lighting was just a little better, just a pinch better, you know what I mean? Making good trees in games is not just about realism, there's also style. And there's one major game that we all love, known as Elden Ring. Boom, 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 boom. Elden Ring has one of the greatest trees in gaming history. This is the tree that conquered the Deco tree, and it didn't even say a word. That tree is the Erd tree. And the Erd tree actually makes another debut within the DLC, and I'm not even gonna spoil how, right? But it was miraculous. It's like the whole of Elden Ring centered around the tree. the growth of your character from getting your ass kicked all the way up to becoming a god. And it was fantastic, and it's still fantastic until this day. Shadow of the Erdtree was probably one of the best DLCs I've played in a long time. And that tree still made a very, very badass debut that I appreciate till this day. And I'm probably gonna play it again. Or maybe not. I got backlog too goddamn big. And last but not least, let's talk about Horizon Zero Dawn. And the reason why I'm hesitant to talk about Horizon Zero Dawn is because of one simple fact. I have not finished playing Horizon Forbidden West. I got like 10 hours in, and honestly, I got discouraged by the fake ass chess game with the big ass wooden pieces. I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. But the foliage in this game, it's probably the best, to be honest. Like, even though, yes, I am more partial to other games, you cannot lie and say that this doesn't have the best trees. And if I'm wrong, discredit me in the comment section. I appreciate dissenters. We are all looking at the same damn games. Your eyes are just as good as mine. So please head to the comment section and duke it out with the best trees in gaming history. Because I appreciate walking past those big fluffy pixels of foliage with the sunlight coming through, basking on my character. Like, I like that. Another honorable mention is actually Hogwarts Legacy, because that game had some sexy foliage, some sexy trees. And the thing I like about that game the most, there's seasons. So you see how the seasons impact the trees, and it's oh so lovely. So that's my honorable mention. If you got a game where you like the trees and you think the foliage is looking nice, put it in the comment section below. I want to build a community of people who like video games, but not only like video games, also like the visuals that make the video aspect of the game. So you're welcomed here. For those of you who have no idea who I am, my name is Jabulani Ori, an actual professional artist who is trying to make art with the hands. I have over 30 paintings on my website that you may visit and study. That website is jahbu.com. Please take your time and browse through all the paintings. If you would like to see more of the artistic style of this person, you can follow me on social media, primarily Instagram and a little pinch of TikTok, at JAHBU_ART, Jabu_art. Until next time, my fellow appreciators of gaming visuals, I bid you farewell. One love, peace, and grow them trees.